like I always say, money is energy. And what are the chakras?
Yeah.
Energy is in our body. So everything is connected.
Welcome, Kiersten. It's so fabulous to have you here. So, she is a money mindset coach and she is a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and she's got experience in dance, yoga, and travel writing. And she's been an expat for 3 years and she's currently living in Spain. Okay, her mission is to help Black women master their money mindset to create their dream life. I am so glad you're here. I'm sure that a lot of members of my audience are going to get different wonderful bits of information and actually inspiration from you. So, yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to just talk with other women who are on this journey of self-growth and spirituality. Yeah, this is a fascinating topic because I think a lot of people don't realize how much money can affect other areas of their life, how much our chakras, our energy influences money. It's very, very intertwined. So I think it's so crucial whenever we kind of hit a moment where maybe we feel like we have a money block or we feel like we're frustrated with money. We want to get back into the flow of money. I think coming back to our chakras is a great way to do that because we always like to start with the root chakra and kind of go up. And so I'll just start talking about how all of those different chakras affect our money and what that can kind of look like in our behavior, in our mindset, in our day-to-day lives. So obviously, the root chakra, when we always feel like a little bit or not grounded, when we need to feel grounded, we go to our root chakra. That's, that place of security. So all the times the connection with money is that feeling of security that money can provide. When we have more money, we feel safe. We feel like, okay, I can meet my needs because I have this money. What can kind of cause that to kind of be off balance is when we kind of hold on to the money too tightly. We kind of feel like, okay, I have to hold on to this money. This money is my security. If I let it go, if I spend it up too much, if I make this purchase, it's going to all go away. So I think when you kind of can come back to those grounding techniques that you do when you're trying to connect to your root chakra, that can kind of release the grip that you might have and see that money is a security, but it's in a security when it's in flow. If it's not a very secure thing if you're holding on too tightly to it, because money needs to flow. It's like energy. And if you're blocking it by holding on too tight, it's not going to flow.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Okay.
So going on up, the sacral chakra, which is my personal favorite chakra, because
Popular
it's
on my channel. Very, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, for women, it's, yeah.
No, it's such an energy source. It's such a powerhouse. And I think, throughout history, we've been told not to connect to it. And I think that comes out in our money too, when we are shamed for using money as self-pleasure and using money to take care of ourselves, whether it can be buying ourselves something that we really want, buying ourselves a treatment, just kind of using money to buy that really nice dress that you like because it makes you feel sexy. We kind of, you get that like, oh, women are only going to buy shoes, or women can't handle money, women can't manage money. A lot of the times we will deny our sacral energy. We won't listen to our sacral chakra because we think that pleasure is bad. And then we think money is bad. So kind of realizing that when you connect to your sacral chakra, you do realize that pleasure is your birthright, pleasure is necessary. You learn how to take care of yourself, and then you learn to see that money can be used in the same way. It can be used to take care of yourself. It can be used to enhance your pleasure. Even just having money itself receiving money can be a pleasurable experience as well.
I am so glad you did use the word pleasure, because that was the word that was coming up for me, and I have shared with my audience that I actually think, and I've evolved this a little bit, but I want to say that I feel that for many women, it's actually the sacral chakra that is the blockage. And a lot of, especially a lot of women of color, it's statistically higher. We have fibroids and we have a lot of reproductive issues. And so I think there's historical baggage, there's lineage, there's pain in the lineages. So it's that idea of pleasure, and I feel like if we are taught to deny ourselves pleasure, that can be linked with money, because what do we want money for? We want money for that great meal, or oh my gosh, I really
Mm-hmm.
want to go to this beautiful country, and that's the pleasure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really link that
Mm-hmm.
very closely. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to hear your take on it. Let's go on to,
Yeah.
yeah, Manipura, the third chakra.
As we know, it's linked to like confidence and control. A lot of the times we can, which has been really hard for me in all honesty, sometimes we can block the flow of money of trying to control
Hmm.
money and how it flows into our life.
That's
Trying to control. What I'm practicing more and more is just kind of trusting the flow of money,
interesting.
because I notice whenever I kind of get anxious and I try to control how money comes into my life by saying like, okay, I'm going to charge this, or I'm going to make this product, and I'm going to do all these things to create money. It doesn't come from an intuitive place. It doesn't come from a place of alignment. It comes from a place of insecurity, because I'm like, I don't like, is this good enough? Like, can I make this work? And a lot of the times too, when we're not confident, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a coach and you're not confident in your services, you're not confident in who you are, when it comes to making that sale, you have to ask for the money. We
Yeah.
sometimes undercharge, sometimes we don't charge enough. And it's all because we can be lacking some confidence within the solar plexus.
I have to tell you, I had never thought of it. Oh my gosh, what did you say in the first piece where you said the flow? I never thought of the third chakra in terms of over control of money. So I'm still like thinking about that. I think that's a really interesting take on it, because you're right, right? Well, with the third chakra, which the solar plexus chakra, the it is very much in imbalance. It's very much about control and dominance.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so we could try to, I think of it more of like, say, the millionaire and the billionaire who uses money to control others. You know,
Yeah.
that's definitely a
Mm-hmm.
part of that. I mean, we know that, we see that, right? It gives them an
Yeah.
incredible amount
Mm-hmm.
of control over other people.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying,
Mm-hmm.
can you repeat what you're saying again with that as a woman? What you saw the insight was in terms of control of money? Can you just repeat that?
I try to give an example. I think of trying to control, instead of trying to control where the money comes from, instead of just trusting. And so what that kind of looked like in my life is trying to do these jobs or these tasks that weren't really in alignment with me. They weren't really what I wanted to do, but I
They
was just
didn't
like, oh,
bring
I
you
need
joy.
money.
They did
Yeah,
not
they
bring
didn't
you
bring me joy. No, 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 no. And I ended up getting burnt out. I ended up getting underpaid for things. But I was like, I need to get money. I need to get money. I need to control how the money is. If you are because everything in life is kind of on a time frame. And you're like, oh, it's getting close to the first of the month. Oh, this bill is due.
joy.
That bill is due. I'm getting anxious. So let me go out and control instead of, which is really hard to do, but it's important, getting quiet, waiting, and allowing that, you're allowing yourself to intuitively know which step to make. So I'm not saying like sit back and do nothing, but I'm saying when you take that action, make sure that it's in alignment, make sure that you are in the flow and not trying to control where the flow of money is coming from. Because I've gotten money from like random places. Like money has come to me through a gift, through a job opportunity, through a new client. And those moments have always happened when I was most relaxed, when I wasn't trying to control it.
So, Kirsten, so beautiful what you shared, because what I got from listening to that, this was so wonderful, is, I do talk about the divine feminine, and a lot of my most popular videos talk about the divine feminine. So, what I heard you saying is that it's more, there's a masculine approach where we want to sort of, again, control the money, dominate it, and show it who's boss, right?
Mm-hmm,
Versus
mm-hmm,
perhaps a
mm-hmm,
more flowing approach, which is the sacral chakra, right? Because that's very much about flow and getting into trusting and
mm-hmm,
getting into a quiet space. And that's what I heard from you. And I
mm-hmm.
really want to reiterate that to the goddesses watching as well, is that I really believe that for women, I do think there's different ways to manifest. And if we want to manifest from our feminine, I think it's important to, like you said, it's not that you're going to stop working and go lay by a pool, drinking a margarita. It's more about going into quiet, that internal, and that's the feminine, that internal receptive mode, and listen and hear from spirit what, and even ask, what would you have me do? This is where I am in terms of money, and go into that receptive mode and hear what the answer is, and that's a more beautiful place and equally powerful place to come from as a
Exactly.
woman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Exactly.
go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's hard because, at least it's been hard for me at times, because you do have to take a passive role and for the moment. You do have to sit and you have to listen, like you said, to spirit. You have to, and then sometimes, the answer doesn't come right away. Sometimes,
Right. There
you
might be a
have
little
to wait.
delay.
There might be a little delay. Yes. But the more that, we can, I think, and then that's where I honestly think that like movement comes in, because it's like, if you sit and you're not getting the answer, then it's like, okay, so if you know that, some of the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar chakra is blocked, that's when you need to move. If you move and then sit and wait, move and sit and wait. Those are.
Love that. We didn't mention, I mean, do you want to talk just a little bit about your yoga background and the dance? Like how?
Yeah. So I grew up as a dancer. It's just in my blood. And then I actually didn't like yoga at first. I think because I didn't have the right teacher.
Did
So I
it
thought
seem too passive? Was it too passive for
it
you?
did. Yes. As a dancer, I was like, no, I can't do this. Like
Yeah,
this, like sit and like,
too slow.
hold the too slow, too slow. But then I got introduced to the different styles of yoga, and
Yeah.
like there is an element of passivity to it, but you can have more active yoga. And it's a journey. It's not just, one type of format. And so those things, especially being like an expat, I think that when you're always moving, your environment's changing, your financial situation is always changing. It's like, I can't always, like, when I moved abroad, I had financial issues with like employers not paying me on time. I had to start, my own entrepreneurial projects and make my own money sometimes. And I can never really control any of that. Like I can't, I couldn't control like when the government was going to pay me here. I couldn't control exactly when my next client was going to come in, but I knew that I can always control my inner work. I can sit on my yoga mat, I can move. I swear, not every time, but the majority of the time when I am in tune with my body, that's when I know what to do. That's when I can see the next step. When I haven't danced and I haven't done my yoga, that's when things are kind of like that's when things are kind of out of the line.
Creepy. This is so funny because, as you know, I was just doing yoga before this, and I talked too about us being embodied. So again, all of this fits under the divine feminine, because as a woman, again, I think we are designed, and I can explain why I believe that. I think we are designed to be more in our bodies than, and I know some people don't like the binary, but when I look at it, I look at it as yin and yang and like dark and light. There's always opposition on this planet.
Yeah.
So when I think of, the millennia of our evolution as humanity, I think we could agree that most of the time it would be the men fighting and doing a lot of like the hunting, especially of larger game. They'd work together.
Yeah.
The women wouldn't be there. But so what I mean by that, when you think of that physiologically, you'd want to be a little bit less, like if you were cut or injured, you'd want to, in that moment, be a little bit less aware of it so that you can survive. Right?
Yeah.
Animals.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying with that is that I think that men have a certain ability to kind of abstract distance from their bodies, and that for women, it's actually more powerful for us to, and we're designed to almost get our intuition through our bodies. So yes, like the dance, the yoga, whatever it was, whatever it was, every culture we know had dances. They were group dances.
Yeah.
Right. And often that was in traditional cultures, there was often a physical movement to connect with spirit, in terms of like an approach. The priest, the healer would go into some sort of trance. It was definitely a body thing. So anyway, just to thank you for sharing that with the audience. And I want to reiterate it that, yeah, do some dance, do some movement, put on something flowing, and especially African dance and belly dance. I just feel like to get us into that womb area and get us really,
Yes.
right? And get us
Yeah.
out of our heads. Because that, I think,
Yeah.
is the flaw of Western culture. And we've all, whatever shade we are, whatever like beautiful rainbow color we are, we're living in this Western dominance of the mind and the rational. And it's just everywhere. It's inescapable. And so that's what I think the divine feminine is actually arising to counteract. And that is go into a
Yes.
quiet space, listen, be receptive, don't try to
Mm-hmm.
don't use
Mm-hmm.
force. You guys, if you enjoyed this interview with Kiersten, let us know in the comments. And if you have questions or if you'd like to see a part two, let us know what do you want, us to share on. What do you want to know more from Kiersten? Like, I'd love to bring her back and have her talk about how she, how this whole money thing, how she funded her expat life. Come back and talk to us about how she manifested being an expat. So let us know in the comments that you want to see that. And thank you so much, Kiersten, for being here. I really think that our emphasis too on the three lower chakras are important because in my experience over decades, a lot of us spiritual folks are in the upper chakras. And so if money is an issue at all, it's those lower grounding chakras that we need to focus on. And that's why we, in our conversation, talked about the first, second, and third, because those are the ones you need to like get together. So much for being here. This was awesome.
And yeah, please, if you enjoyed it, if there was an aha moment for you, please leave us a comment because I would love to know and love to support.
Oh, yeah, Kiersten, give us your website and the links will be below, but why don't you go ahead and say your website name and all of that stuff?
Yeah, so you can find me at kikimarieb.com and my Instagram is kikimarieb15. And you'll find lots of dance videos. Also, my YouTube channel, I talk more about money mindset there. I also have a lot of dance videos and yoga videos, so if you want to follow along. I think it's sometimes nice to get out of your head and into your body, and that's what I like to share on my channel as well.
Yeah, so again, all the links will be below to check her out. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.